Kart World just came out, and to celebrate, I'm ranking every single track that has ever appeared in a Mario Kart game. Only the most recent iterations of tracks will be ranked. And one last thing, I'm not including any of the 2D tracks. Way to go, give me absolutely nothing. I honestly feel like the game would have been better off if this track wasn't included. I mean, hey, at least this one has a tunnel. I've heard some people say that, actually, the course design is really good if you just overlook the fact that it looks terrible. Well, I mean, there's a glider section. Of all the tracks that they could have brought back, they bring back Toad Circuit. Find me a single person who is begging for this track to come back, because you won't find them. It's Mario Circuit. Ooh, but it's anti-gravity. Am I crazy, or did the anti-gravity gimmick add nothing to the game, really? When you're racing, you don't even really notice it. These GBA tracks must be stopped. I want to play Moo Moo Meadows. We have Moo Moo Meadows at home. Moo Moo Meadows at home. That mural of Peach looks really nice, but it's just such a bland track. And they make you play this one a lot. Why are we repeating this twice? And this isn't the special cup. There's nothing special about this. I would call this an intermission course, but that's an insult to intermission courses. There's nothing royal about this raceway. I mean, here I was thinking I was gonna get some grand experience, and I get this? Okay, so the fact that I have a Rainbow Road at all this low on the list is probably gonna be shocking to some people, but look, okay, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has like a bajillion Rainbow Roads. Now granted, for those people that are looking for like a challenge, I could see how this could appeal to people who like hard tracks. I'm just saying that there is like 4 other tracks of the same name in the same game that I would rather play over this. It's a little bit tired if you ask me. Oh, what did I say about the intermission tracks? Did this one escape into the wrong game or something? I'm so confused. You know what? It's fun going on those ramps, getting those boosts. That's literally all you need to not be bottom of the barrel. Maybe nostalgia speaking here, but like, I had fun on this as a kid. Coming back to this, I never realized how simple this track layout is. You literally just go up or you go down. You know what? An effort was made, and I can see it. This is not bad. They elevated it. Like, you got assigned a bad task, but you did the task well. I can't hate this that much. What's crazy is like, this isn't even that deserty. If you didn't know that was sand, would you? This course just has like nothing going on, and that's proven by the fact that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had a better desert course. Guys, the big climatic moment of this track is an oil drill. You're supposed to be showcasing the best, most beautiful parts of these cities, and you pick a freaking oil drill. What an odd choice. This one was just never for me. The one part with like the piranha plants and the fireballs right next to each other, I always get hit there. Guys, if there were no holes, would you know that this was supposed to be a track made of cheese? You would not. You would look at this and think, this is the bajillionth desert track. On paper, this is actually a really good idea. The Mushroom City concept, they reused this in like a few of the other tracks in this game. The problem is that the execution just isn't great. The result of this is basically cars hitting you from different directions, and that's the extent of going into the city. Water parks are supposed to be exciting. The rides in the background of Baby Park are more fun to look at than the rides here. Every game needs one of these, right? This is the basic course that teaches you about the game. For an introductory course, it's not the worst. Seeing that castle upside down, that is quite the novelty. I do appreciate that they just took all 3 of these tracks and they put it into one. We're gonna get it out of the way. This is the only one in the whole game, and I can excuse it. In moderation, this is okay. I like the chocolate. I like the, little shortcut that looks like a donut. It's not as sweet as I was personally expecting. Yeah, so this is another one with cars, but this time you can kind of go on the side and skip that. I find that to be pretty fun when I play this. Yep, another Rainbow Road. I don't ever find myself wanting to play this. There's just better, Yeah, so you go on this launcher, and then immediately you have to turn left. It's so unnatural. I don't like it. Listen, put your pitchforks down, okay? The cow is iconic. We all love the cow. We all stand the cow. Amazing. That being said, Moo Moo Meadows is not that great of a track. I had fun on it. when I played on the Wii. But then this track came back. It came back again. It's like, all right, we get it, you know? It doesn't have to be in every game, you know? And would you look at that? Proof that a desert track doesn't have to completely suck. Just because it's spooky does not mean it's a good track. Genuinely one of the most forgettable tracks in the whole game. I hope you like shaking your controller. You're gonna be doing that a lot. I didn't realize it was a GBA track. That means you're doing something right. Pro tip, you see those colored blocks? If you ever see them, run. Don't ever pick the course, okay? This is a pretty boring standard track from a game that has a lot better. What I will say about this one though, is there's one brief section that looks beautiful. Just like the Rainbow Roads, the earlier Bowser's castles are not all that. So this track is perfectly fine. I can't think of anything wrong with it. It's there. A lot of your enjoyment on these tour tracks kind of is based on how familiar you are with these cities. I don't know a lot about Bangkok, so the landmarks don't mean that much to me. The track itself isn't really that impressive. I do like that part at the end though, where you're kind of jumping on the roofs. One of the worst tracks in the game, and it's not even bad. It's just, I feel like there's too much water. You know, I'm doing that IGN meme. This is a very basic course, but one of the first that I think of when I think Mario Kart 64. I mean, that whole ice wall, I love that. If you're gonna make a remake of a GBA course, this is how you do it. So this is another track where you have to shake your controller a lot. And for whatever reason, I actually enjoy this one. Baby Park knows what it is. Races on this track can get intense. And this time they give you some good scenery. Who would have known that a Wii track would beat all these other desert courses? I think the key to it is the indoor sections. Like, you really feel like you're exploring something. It gets bonus points for the cave. The lava is really menacing in the background. Even though it's not like a full Bowser's Castle, it's up there. Believe me, I recognize that like every game has to have a simple track, but if you're gonna do it, this is the way to do it, right? The theme of having a chocolate mountain is awesome. And then for it being such a simple course, there's actually quite a lot that's going on. It's very subtle, but I enjoy this one for that reason. Being born and raised in Arizona, I was never like huge on this whole Arizona style theme. Kind of reminds me of Cars Land at Disney, but even I have to admit that this track looks gorgeous. As weird as it seems, that open space, absolutely love it. They changed this so much that I'm not even sure if the 8 version qualifies as a remake. You know, you would think, since Nintendo is a Japanese company, that their Tokyo track would be one of their better ones. One of the ones they put more effort into. They didn't do that. There's really nothing going on here. Look, I'm a sucker for hot air balloons and windmills, okay? Oh, I have some memories with this one. You know, on the Wii, this was like an infamously hard course. This is the course you feared, you know? You didn't want to play. I remember falling all the time, and even now I don't really choose to play it, but I will say it is so satisfying when you get it right, especially getting that little shortcut where you kind of follow the minecart off to the side. There's just a bunch of water, and they don't use it well. By far, one of the weaker tracks in the game, when that game doesn't have a lot of weak tracks. You know, I really liked this one at first, but I don't like it as much anymore. I feel like it's more style over substance. If anything, this just indicates that we're getting to the point where, like, all these tracks are good now, you know? I can't play this one. I wish we would have got it instead of Sky High Sunday. London is another big city. What do you have to show for it? But yeah, this one is ultra disappointing. I think having the different colors be different like paths you can take, I think that's cute. I don't really do anything with that. It's a neat little concept. This one executed it better. If you just look at the map, I mean, whoa, what is even going on here? I don't know, I respect it. So once again, we have the views of that city, you know, being cohesive with the rest of Double Dash. But just like as a course, it doesn't wow me the same way that other Rainbow Roads do. Yep, here we go, Sky High Sunday. It's kind of funny how we got those rails, not realizing what they were. It's like the big test of the gimmick on the next console. I was part of that collective sigh when this was announced for World. Of all the tracks to bring back, why bring back the one that everyone just kind of was like, meh about on the booster course? It's not even bad. It's colorful, it's fun, and I'm just thankful that we got new tracks on that booster course. But if you were gonna give it to us anyway, what was even the point? Baffling choices. I always get this one in Sky Gardens confused. Putting a track on top of the ship levels in the 2D Mario series, that could work. I mean, it's kind of just like a less thought out Daisy Cruiser. Okay, listen, hear me out. There are boosts everywhere. You get like a little toll booth. Just like the little details like that, they go a long way. Hey, do you like shaking your controller? I love that statue of Daisy and Luigi. For once, they get the spotlight. Like, that's so adorable. There's like a nice little secret pathway in here. And just for a circuit track to be this good, that's something worthy of praise. The fact that you go inside of the Sydney Opera House, truly a highlight. The rest is okay. The fact that we have a Mario circuit course this high should be embarrassing, but we got those trees, we go inside of Peach's castle. This slaps. It slaps way harder than it should. This is just a weaker version of DK Summit. With this new game, I was kind of expecting you to elevate this. Oh, what do you know? Another tour track. The sights are decent. Of all 96 tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, this is the one that was the most forgettable. At first, I thought I was gonna rank this really low. Like, I didn't like this at all. And then I thought about it. I was judging it wrong. This isn't, you know, a standard track. This is basically a glorified baby park. And for a baby park style track, this is actually really good. I don't know, it's more fun than I would expect it to be, if that makes sense at all. Having Woohoo Island be a thing that you can race on is such a genius idea, but I mean, I hate to say this, it's kind of an intermission track. Think about it. Kind of does feel like one, doesn't it? You know, the highlight of this is taking that shortcut where you go through a train. If you're able to go in that subway, it's so satisfying. I don't know if it saves you any time at all. I don't think it's worth it. It's colorful. I don't know if we needed another Yoshi track. I'm just happy to get new courses when I do. You know, it took me a lot longer than I'm willing to admit to realize that you drive through the Coliseum. I didn't catch that the first time. Call me crazy. I feel like this track had a downgrade. Now granted, there's a day and night cycle. Maybe I just haven't seen it in its glory yet. What made Shy Guy Bazaar work, what made it stand out, was the lighting. You just completely nerfed it for no reason. Any track where you combine indoor and outdoor elements, you instantly elevate that track. You kind of add a sense of variety, especially when you're racing through the same course multiple times. And I like how, if you're lucky, you might get that path in the middle to open up and give you a boost there. The season aspect of this course is really cool. Obviously, being inspired by Animal Crossing, it was a no-brainer. But what it also means is any one playthrough of this track, you're not gonna see the multiple seasons, you're just gonna see one version of it. Just the fact that it's Animal Crossing themed at all, and we get in Mario Kart, that alone gives it some points. But it's also nothing to write home about. Maybe I have this one a bit too low, but like, I've been playing a lot of F-Zero 99 on the Switch, and I get it now. You know, having those sections charge up your coins, great implementation of those mechanics. You have this other racing property that you're not really doing much with. Why not make a Mario Kart track? Why not make two? I don't know what to say. The banana, it's a good banana. It's yellow, it's shiny. So this track is called Peach Beach, but it's more of like a resort theme, and then you can drive on the walls. I feel like the other tracks should look at this and be like, see, this is the amount of water you should be using. This is a very unique course, and I have no idea why they never brought it back. This whole metal cage or whatever, it's just a really nice visual. That being said, it does feel like a weaker version of Waluigi's Pinball, so, you know, obviously bring that one back and not this, if you have to choose. My first Rainbow Road. Wait, is that loop-de-loop anti-gravity? Maybe I'm just weird, but every time I race this, I just think of other tracks with very similar mechanics. It's a very good track, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have that wow factor that it should. But again, I've played this so many freaking times. I think Rainbow Road just has too high of standards, to be honest. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if this was the reason that Tour Track never got put in the game. Always nice when you get to go inside of a warp pipe. This track is basically the railing tutorial. It's a great track to rail on and not much else. You know, the fact that we get to go in Hyrule Castle, the fact that we have rupees instead of coins, thought and care was put into this. You go up the mountain, you go down the mountain. And the fact that you're always headed down, kind of like a mini Mount Wario. I don't know, it just feels like you're actively working towards something. Is this higher than it should be? Probably. Do I like looking at the Eiffel Tower? Yes. For whatever reason, I hyped up this track thinking it was going to be something interesting. It's got a glider section. It's not even like disappointing. It's just like, you know, for a 3DS track, I was kind of hoping for a little more. Some of the best locations in any tour track. Like, I mean, we have the art gallery, we have the soccer stadium. This is a complete and total reimagining of an old track. Totally surprised to see Charging Chuck here. Is he gonna become a mainstay? Bowser's Castle is great. Unfortunately, every element of this track has just been reused and improved upon. And this is what I mean. Could have been more original, but hey, I'll take it. The problem with this is every time you're not on the tracks, it's kind of boring, but once you are on those train tracks, it becomes a great course. I love Rosalina. I personally think they could have done more. I don't fully understand what the finale to this track has to do with New York. What exactly is going on here? I like this more than I should. This is before I realized that all the tour tracks are the same. This could have been so good. That area with the solar panels, breathtaking. But then you have two different versions of this track in two completely different cups, and I'm just kind of confused. I'll never forget going in reverse mode, looking behind me, and just looking at the water. Nothing to write home about, but a special track. One of my favorite Rainbow Roads, specifically because of all the boosts you get, and because it's harder to fall off. It's the one I played the most as a kid. What I like about the creativity is, like, on paper, a track about the woods doesn't sound like it'd be interesting, but then you kind of see, like, oh, there's like this whole village where like these toads are living on the side of a mountain. Like, this is really cool. You see the life there. This one also has for a similar reason. You go down, you see the cable car, you get that gorgeous view of the water. The rest of the track is just okay, but that one part alone makes it worth it. I love the idea that the more laps you go through, the more of the course breaks. Like, you really feel that intensity on the final lap. This one isn't great, okay? But these flowers, look at these flowers. I thought about putting this higher, but honestly, I feel like the remake, it's good, but at the same time, it's like Wario Shipyard was one of the best utilizations of an underwater track, and they kind of just do everything above water now. It just feels different because of that small change. How cool is it that the course design looks like a Yoshi? And it's actually fun. Usually when you draw something, like, you ever seen those midis in FL Studio? They sound awful. I don't know how in the heck they pulled that off. And then the shortcuts in this one are also so neat, like jumping through that waterfall. The nighttime look of this, spectacular. And then going through the hockey rink. This is one of the best tour tracks. This used to be one of my top ones. I mean, the course is a dragon. I think I've played this enough times that it's kind of worn out on me. It's just that one part from Wii's Bowser's Castle. I really like that bookcase shortcut. I am torn on this. I like it, but it's also very repetitive. Now, they do things to make it less so. There are a lot of straight portions. It goes on for a bit, but each time you're facing like a different obstacle. I've heard people say that this is kind of like a boss battle, and I can see that. Give it some time. I mean, since I'm releasing this so close to like when the game's coming out, it's hard to know how I'm gonna feel months or years later. The new mechanics are included here. This is just a scenic view of Woohoo Island, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Can we talk about how incredible this is? That this is a GBA track. Like, they cooked with this one. It changes colors. There are these mini sets. You're in a room. This does not need to go as hard as it does. How is it that this never came back? We got new Luigi's Mansion games. This could promote those. What are we doing? I guess the only drawback is I'm not huge on like the parts that make your cart move slower. I love when Nintendo just gives us random ideas. Some people might not like it, but it's much better than giving us another GBA remake. My goodness. We got Christmas themed Mario Kart before GTA 6. It's a nice theme. I see people hate this one. I don't get it. It's a good track. Imagining this in World would be crazy because I can already see these areas where you could jump on. It would be so easy to like put this in as DLC. It was ahead of its time with like the multiple paths and everything. I mean, this is basically just Koopa Cave, but like slightly worse. But Koopa Cave was a banger track, so I'll take it. I love that shade of blue. Reminds me a lot of the Rainbow Road from this game. I don't know if they reused that. But yeah, one thing Mario Kart World is doing, they're making the road itself look cool instead of just the surroundings. I always am tempted to choose this when I go online. Then I play it and I realize like the course itself isn't crazy. They just went so freaking hard with the visuals. I don't like courses with other cars because that's a dime a dozen, but put me in a subway, now we're talking. They went all out on this. They pulled all of the stops. My favorite part is the spinny thing, which I always fall off of, but I always try to make it through the next lap. Good times. The Mario Kart 7 version is just maybe a slightly better version of this. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fully get this one right away. But Mario Kart on a cruise ship is such a good concept. And that's really what makes Mario Kart so great. Also reminds me a lot of Mario Party 7. There we have it, my favorite tour track. That hotel is like famous. That was in like Crazy Rich Asians. All these landmarks. Singapore is just a beautiful city, so it makes sense that the course would be stunning. Never underestimate just how fun it is to go off on the side, go on the half pipes, do some tricks, and just spam that through the whole course. I did not expect them to remake the Wooden Kingdom from Mario Odyssey, but I am so glad they did this. The whole duration of this is just going down and up, but you feel like you're rewarded once you get down there. Like you just stumbled upon some type of treasure. It's big. It's blue. It's big blue. Yeah, I'm a sucker for these tracks that are just 3 entirely separate laps. Without a doubt, the best use of water in this entire game. This course alone makes that feature worth it. You got the Japanese architecture in the background. You got those trees. I have so many good memories of just going through that airport terminal in the last second, you know, trying to take that shortcut, you know, rushing at the end. And then there's just a giant plane right there. It's simple, but it works. See, I would have this in the top 10 if they didn't change it. That flow of water in the center, that's what made this. And it's still fun without it, but you took away like the sprinkles of the cake. Okay, I'm a little biased. I love music. But to be fair, you're driving on a freaking piano, okay? Gliding here is so satisfying. Some of the most satisfying gliding in the whole game. I was expecting this one to be a little better, but I just like the mystery about it. Why is there a giant question block in the sky? Also, the fact that we are in the sky in this open world. So glad they brought this back. Not sure entirely how I feel about the reverse lap at the end. Still one of the greats, though. Okay, so I'm not the only one to make the Jurassic World comparison. I know this. But come on, you can't not make the There's a freaking dinosaur on the track? There are dinosaurs in the Mario Kart universe? Oh, actually, well, Birdo is a dinosaur, right? Wait, Yoshi's a dinosaur. Am I stupid? Just when you think they've done it all, they add a bunch of brand new things here. The leaves! The acorns! You know, a very gorgeous track, very reminiscent of Maple Tree. Wait a second. Yep, Maple Tree Way. Of course it's gonna be this high up. Always at the very end, I try to go into the trees, kind of take that little hidden path. Sometimes I pull it off. On the surface, Boost Cinema is a very basic track, but it does something that no other track has done. You jump through the screen, and then the course below you turns into film reel. In a way, you're kind of like watching an animation while you race. Now, I kind of wish it just took a little longer to, you know, reveal that. The fact that you can kind of see it ahead of time kind of ruins it a little bit for me, but just such a clever idea and just a really cool way to elevate this track. Alright, I think this is a little high, but mushrooms are fun to bounce on, okay? You got those crystals, they're glowing, they make the whole place look nicer. One of my absolute favorites on the DS. And this is where creativity really pays off. Like on paper, a clock-themed track sounds stupid, but then you see it in action, you're like, oh. This Bowser's Castle has some of the prettiest 5 seconds of Mario Kart to ever exist. That is an insane transition. The track is a dry bones. They made the dry bones a track. You're racing on him. After all those Mario Kart 8 Deluxe courses, it makes me glad they're still finding new ways to impress me. Mount Wario is the course that made me see the potential with these multi-lap courses. Every lap is very different, and it just feels like a massive journey you go on. No 2 moments are the same, and then you start the thing in a helicopter. Coconut Mall was my favorite track as a kid, point blank. I mean, do I really need to explain myself? It's Coconut Mall. I'm not exactly a huge fan of the changes to the card movements at the end. The Wii version might still be a tad better, but it's Coconut Mall. I can't believe it took this long to get Toad's Factory, but we did it. We finally got it. It was worth it in the end. Slaps just as hard as I remember it. What an absolute classic. Driving your cart through a pinball machine, avoiding those bumpers, avoiding the pinballs. So fun. We got a 4-lap Rainbow Road. The laps are completely different. Like, there are certain points in this track where it doesn't even look like Rainbow Road. And like, I'm not entirely sure if that's a good thing, but they really went all out. This is like end credits, like, thank you for playing the game. Here's your reward. Easily one of the best in the whole series. You know, when the booster course came out, everyone was skeptical, and then this track came out of absolutely nowhere, and it was one of the best in the whole game. This is just good, old-fashioned fun. The problem is that they spoiled us, you know, by giving us Ninja Hideaway. Like, we were expecting more tracks like that, and then we got the tour ones. Yes, 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 this is how you remake a track. No notes. 10 out of 10. You did it. And finally, my favorite track of all of Mario Kart, it's 3DS Rainbow Road. I know, it's the generic choice to pick, but There's a reason why. You go on the moon, you go on planets, even the regular Rainbow Road. This is the prettiest a Rainbow Road has ever looked. And yeah, there you have it. Every Mario Kart track ranked. Now, if you disagree with me and you think I know nothing, you know what? You're right. This is the very first gaming related video on my channel. The only reason I even have a Switch 2 in the first place is because I won money off of Beast Games. So that's the reason I can afford this, okay? If this video randomly blows up, maybe I'll make more Mario Kart videos. If you enjoyed this, I have a video that I made about the worst samples in music. I know that's like very different from this video. Might not be interested, but like I worked really hard on that. If you want to see more from me, like, you know, I like doing these videos where I just rank a bunch of stuff. Really ambitious videos here. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's Rose Millet. Bye.